Hi, this is Happy, and this video tutorial of the live grid is about creating grids and basic selection. We got here a few color presets and some groups, and we're going to create a color grid. You click Create Instance, and then you see a new instance in the instance list. This is a list of grids that you generate. And the default of the plugin is to create a color grid. And you can see here already some default configuration. The plugin automatically searches your pools for objects that to start your configuration with. So it found presets 1 through 5 and preset 7, and in the groups it found 1 through 4. You see here there's a comma separated list of ranges or single objects. There's group 6, group 7, and this group 10 is actually the all group. You can see here that it includes all the fixtures in a symmetrical selection. So we're going to configure it to be the all group. You can see here also there's a warning, groups 1 and 10 intersect. You actually can, this is only a warning, not an error. You can have intersecting groups. I hope to explain this in further videos. For now, let's just make it simple. So group 10 is our all group. So let's create it. Now it takes a few seconds because it's generating a lot of stuff. So it's created. You can delete this instance now. It got a name. Update the configuration. But let's see it in action first. Now we need to create a layout view window and assign it to the generated layout. You see here there's LG for live grid I1. This is instance 1 and it's called color grid. So let's assign it. Now we have this dialog here. It's an alert dialog that tells you that the title bar was removed. I'll show you how to bring it back in a moment. If you don't want to see this dialog every time you create an instance or every time you assign a layout view window to a layout, then just check this checkbox and you won't see it again. So let's continue. If you want to show the title bar, then on Mac you press Control and Option. Okay, and while you keep it pressed, you can see the title bar, so you can access the menu and everything. On a console, it would be pressing both MA keys. You can also resize the window. Okay, so let's check some basic selection. You can use these arrows to select the same color for all groups. Okay, let's see that our group are properly configured. The side, floor, the back, and the steps. Let's try transition to see that our all group selection grid is okay. So to the left. Let's try two-dimensional one. So this will be from the center out. Okay, everything is working well. Now this video is about creating grids, so let's create another one. We click create instance again, and we got a new instance, and this is the configuration. We can choose a position grid, and we can see that it found presets 1 through 4 and groups 1 through 4. So groups 6 and 7 are not moving heads, so it can identify that. And you don't have to put an all group. I think that transitions for between positions preset is not very useful, but you can put an all group here. So let's create it, and it will generate a layout for the position grid. Now let's resize this one. Okay, and move it up here. Rearrange it a bit so we have room. Okay, now we create another layout view window and assign it to the position grid. We don't want to see this again, we understand it. Let's just resize this also. Now the default when you create a grid is that it has all the sections for the special features, the scenes, the transitions, the subgrouping, and the hold. We'll see in a later video how to configure the layout and remove this or change the number of scene buttons. For now, let's just concentrate on creating and removing grids. So now if you want to go to the configuration of a specific grid, you don't have to have your plugin object available on your screen. You can just click the Pro Plugins logo and this cogwheel. So it will bring up the dialog with the color grid selected in this case. If I select the cogwheel here, then it will select the position grid and you see its configuration. Now, just for the sake of showing it, we're going to delete a grid. Let's just maybe see that it's working before we delete it. So we can go here and delete the position grid and confirm, and it's deleted. We're left with only one grid. So let me take this opportunity to show you the config layout. We talked about the cogwheel here that opens the dialog. This button is for scenes, so we'll go over it in the scenes video. This is the actual sequence that the grid is using. The grid is using a single sequence. It doesn't have a sequence per group. There is a reason for this, and we'll talk about it in the transitions video. You can see here the actual groups you configured for this grid and the presets. So you can use them to make some selection. I put them here because it might be more convenient than to have them in another window, another pool window open, so you can always quickly access these presets and the groups of the grid just by going into the config layout. These are supposed to help you fine-tune the color, especially for a color grid. So if the green on stage is not exactly the same as the green on your screen, on your monitor, then you can go here and edit the appearance, and it works actually in real time, and you can change the green to some different green. So it's really easy to fine-tune the colors that you are displaying on the grid. It doesn't affect, of course, what's happening on stage. Okay, to finalize this video, here's more of a real-world example. There's a color grid here with 30 preset, which is the current maximum. There's a position grid, there's a gobo grid, and a focus grid with some zoom presets. I can mention here that the gobo appearances are auto-generated from the fixtures gobos. Now let's play with it a bit. I prepared here a color scene. Let's take these spots to the center, give them a gobo. Let's take these to blind. Let's make these wider. And these also, maybe like this. That's nicer. Let's say you want to flip these colors here. So you can do it. You see that there's 1 and 2. So now I'm selecting them in a different order. So they will flip the color. Let's do some subgrouping here. Take half of the spots out. Okay, so that's it for this video.